Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And a few days ago when I released my MFF tier list for 6.1, quite a few people messaged me and commented disagreeing with my placement of Thanos below the Omega tier. So I wanted to make a video showcasing how amazingly average Thanos is in PvE content and why I made the move to ship him out of Omega tier to the very top of Mythic tier. Now, before we get into the actual showcase and comparison, I just want to explain one more time because I think this was missed and some people just didn't understand or didn't quite get the explanation. Omega tier, in my opinion, first of all, this whole tier list is just my opinion, so it's whatever. Second of all, the Omega tier to me is characters that can, more for the sake of value, do PvE and PvP content without making major changes to their build. So for example, Wolverine can do PvP content with the CTP of Regen, and then if you swap his CTP of Regen to a CTP of Rage or a CTP of Energy, he can do PvE content like World Boss, but he cannot do both with the same build. That is what sets apart Omega tier from the rest of the tiers. You can give them a CTP of Greed, or a CTP of Destruction, or an Obelisk, and they can compete in PvE and PvP. Gladiator being the notable exception. Again, I put an asterisk there and I explained I don't have a ton of data yet, but at level 60, being able to do stage 60 or 70 of World Boss does bode well for him, using like a damage proc Obelisk with guard break immunity, something like a Destruction or whatever in PvE. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. So I have a PvP build. You can give Deadpool a Regen or a Destruction, which you can use in PvP, and he can still do stage 50, 60, 70 of World Boss. My barometer, since I'm a high level player with very good cards and I'm a veteran, etc., my barometer for characters that I play with is about stage 40 to 50 World Boss. If you can do stage 40 to 50 World Boss and you can do high level PvP content with the same build, then I would consider that to be an Omega tier character. As of yet, I have never seen a Thanos do stage 40 or 50 of World Boss with a PvP build. I could be wrong, maybe, but I haven't seen it. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to be using Silver Surfer as an example against Thanos. And then lastly, finally, there's no negativity, there's no diss for being in Mythic tier. Mythic tier and Omega tier characters are almost identical, and in a lot of ways, some of the Mythic tier characters are better than some of the Omega tier characters for specific content. Like, you know, Yelena's great and all, but Luna Snow is head and shoulders above her for PvE content like Squad Battle and ABX. It's just no question, right? You know, Apocalypse is great, but Namor is better than him for Giant Boss Raid, for example. So it's not, you know, it doesn't mean that these characters are trash and these characters are the only good ones. There's very little that separates Omega tier from Mythic tier. And like I said, some of the things at the Omega tier, like Jean Grey is not as good as Sharon Rogers in World Boss or Giant Boss Raid content. She's just not. But overall, Jean Grey is Omega tier, right? So yeah, I wanted to make that distinction. I wanted to explain that a little bit more because quite a few people were frustrated. Quite a few people thought that I was full of full of BS, or I was lying, or I was, you know, undervaluing Thanos. So let's find out here. Am I undervaluing Thanos? I have a rank 1,300 Thanos, which if you can check the Thanos rankings, it's very high because Thanos is a very popular character, so the rankings from are very competitive. We take a look at my build. It's not too expensive. I only have 2 Odin's Blessings. The reason why, well, the rest are 5-star and 6-star Uru. The reason why I didn't give him more Odin's Blessings is because I mostly have offensive Odin's Blessings, and he is mostly a PvP character, and I haven't turned him into a full PvP character yet, despite having the dodge Urus and the HP Urus. I will be turning him to full PvP as soon as I can get about 3 million with Cosmic Ghost Rider and ABX, but I have yet to see if I can do that. The rest of the build goes, you know, full skills here. I have type 6 rank enhancement, stage 12 Power of Angry Hulk. I have a CTP of Rage. Now the crit rate is not needed for Rage on Thanos because his third skill, Warlord Slash, gives him 25% crit rate. So I have my crit rate at 58. I'm actually over by 8%. You don't need to go that high. Everything else is capped. Dodge is capped, attack speed is capped, crit damage is capped, ignore defense is capped, cooldown is almost capped. I'm 1% off on cooldown. But it's a very beefy build. I've got almost 53,000 physical attack when you consider his leadership. And then for his uniform options, we're all mythic. And then I believe all of the options are mythic as well. So I don't know how much better this build could get. Basically, the only thing I can do, I think, to this build now is more Odin's Blessings. So sure, I could bump up his physical attack to maybe like 54, 55, 56,000. Let's check out this guy. 77,000 physical attack. Okay, so I guess I could go a lot higher than 56. But yeah, okay, he's using Ronin. All right. Oh, and he's using Phyla-Vell. Ah, I see. For the extra 30% all tech. I was confused and shocked. I was like, why is his attack so high? Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, 50,000. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting a little bit more. Actually, you know what? I wonder really quickly how much higher. So 52,700, and that goes up to 59,000. Wow. So he gets a lot just from putting Phyla-Vell on the team. That's tricky, eh? And then if we get Ronin and we put him here, we go up to 62. Okay, so I was only about still about 15k behind that guy. But anyways. So yes, my Thanos is extremely well built for PvE content. He's built for ABX. He's not built for PvP, besides the few HP Urus. But we're going to be testing him out on a stage 50 Cull Obsidian. Now, before we get into the testing, I do want to also make this known that Thanos is a weird character for PvE content, for world boss content especially, because world bosses tend to have one type of defense very, very high. They have either very high energy defense or very high physical defense. So that makes characters who have mixed attacks, who have energy and physical damage, it makes those characters worse, because then they won't perform at full power against either of the bosses, regardless. And that's sort of where Thanos falls, because he is a physical attack character, and half of his skills are physical. Warlord Assault is physical, and Blade Cyclone, or it's Flame Physical, whatever. But then Titan Stab, Warlord Slash, and Death Portal are energy. So yeah, you still build him for physical attack. It's just that the physical attack gets converted into energy damage. So with that being said, and I believe the fact that his ultimate skill, his 6th skill, is also energy. Yes, Endless Void is also energy. That means that Cull Obsidian is basically the only boss that he's going to do well against. He does have extra damage against heroes from his uniform, so he could perform pretty well against Scarlet, Quicksilver, and Cable. Keep in mind, he doesn't have any base ignore dodge for Quicksilver, so you're going to need to give him that on strikers. For Scarlet Witch, you have to be careful about energy reflect. And then over here, he's not going to do very well against Corvus, from what I just explained from Quicksilver. Ebony, he doesn't have elemental damage, and he has some energy, but not enough energy attack. Obviously, he doesn't have enough physical attack for Proxima. He's okay against himself because he's very tanky, but as you'll see, he just doesn't have enough raw damage. He doesn't do enough damage per hit, and he doesn't have high enough all defense down to get through the first phase of the fight against Thanos. The other problem with Thanos, the last problem with Thanos for PvE content, he's a very good character, okay? I'm just explaining why he's not as good as other characters for PvE content, for world bosses especially. The other sort of weakness of Thanos for world boss is that he does have all defense down, but it's minus 30% for 4 seconds. So it does ignore immunity, but it's only minus 3% and it's only for 4 seconds. So this makes it hard to combo him with all defense down, and because it only lasts 4 seconds, it doesn't really give you enough time to capitalize on it. So we're going to be bringing him in here with his own leadership, so 36% all attack and whatever, and then Mystique, and then Valkyrie, and then Valkyrie also has a CTP of Insight, so we're giving him as much support as possible. And we're going to be going ahead with this team. I actually have 2 tests to do. We're going to go first ahead with this team where we only have 1 mind control striker, and we're going to see how much damage he does in 1 minute. We're not bringing along an all defense down striker. We took Negasonic off because we're going to test him with the rotation that we used in ABX, which is 4 cancel 5, 2 delayed cancel 2, 1 3. So we are going to be applying his own all defense down, his minus 30%, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so he did get guard broken there by the by Cull Obsidian. We're going to just, ignore that one and sort of keep playing. He can get guard broken now and then. It's not a big deal here. You can see his damage is not bad. I did get guard broken again, but let's see here. We're going to pop the 6 and then go into the 2. Okay, so you got some good damage and you got a lot of lingering DPS from the tier 3. We'll go for a little bit longer than a minute just because he got guard broken twice. The thing with Thanos is he's very tanky, right? So you can basically just face tank. We're going to skip his tier 3 here because we're going to get interrupted, and because he had his Purify up. So we're going to give Thanos the benefit of the doubt here. We're going to do everything we can to really pump out as much damage for Thanos without... We got guard broken there by the tornadoes. We're really going to give Thanos the benefit of the doubt here. This is really good timing here. There you go. Okay, we're going to let this play out, and we're going to do one more rotation because of the guard breaks and stuff. Okay, I think this is fair. So this is a minute. This is as generous as possible that I could be to Thanos. He got down to about half 9 on the bars. This is with full strikers. This is using his all defense down with Rachel Summers' mind control and her damage increase. We're using strikers. We're using support characters. We're using a CTP of insight, and he's got a CTP of rage. So yeah, I could go faster if maybe my timing was a little bit better. I didn't get guard broken, and if I had more Odin's blessings. But this is pretty close to his maximum output for PvE content, for world boss content. That's the middle of 9 in about a minute. So he can definitely do stage 50 with a CTP of rage. Keep that in mind. This is not a PvP build. This is a PvE build. Now we're going to switch it up, and we're going to take Silver Surfer off, and we're going to put in Negasonic. And this time, we're not going to do Thanos' second skill. Now, this is a little bit of a weird rotation. Thanos kind of stands around, and it's also weird because it's also a little bit less efficient, possibly, because you don't charge your tier 3 as fast, because you're not using one of your skills. But let's see here. We don't get guard broken this time. We are going to rely on Negasonic to provide the all defense down, and in the meantime, we're just going to reposition in between sets. Okay, and you're going to see, hopefully, that we can do enough damage. Obviously, our damage is going to fall off when he does the Purify. But you can see here, if you take advantage of Negasonic's damage, you can really bump up Thanos' damage. Sorry, if you take advantage of her all defense down. So rather than relying on his measly 30%, and because you can't really fill the cup anymore the way that you're supposed to, or the way that we used to, you can see here that he actually does a lot more damage. Okay, so again, I'm trying to give Thanos the absolute benefit of the doubt here. I'm not trying to rag on Thanos. I'm not trying to make him seem worse than he is. If you really want to play Thanos in World Boss, this is what I suggest that you do. What I'm doing right now. As you can see, this is way faster. We're like 20 seconds faster. So you have to modify your rotation, sure. You have to not use one of Thanos' skills, which is a bit of a shame, a bit of a bummer. But on the plus side, you'll be able to, you see, and he can tank so much damage. So he's a really tanky boy. But as you can see here, right? So in the same amount of time, we got down an extra 3 bars. So there I exposed Thanos' biggest weakness, is that if you play him using all 5 of his skills, he actually reduces his own damage, because we know that all defense down is king in World Boss. And so not being able to do the second skill, or doing the second skill, will hamper his damage instead of bringing Negasonic in, because Negasonic is obviously offering way more. She's giving him -60 all defense down versus his -30, and it's way more than whatever Silver Surfer was bringing as a striker. So this is probably the optimal team up you want, and the optimal strikers you want for Thanos against Cull Obsidian. If you want to use Thanos against Corvus or Quicksilver, you have to opt in a bunch of ignore dodge strikers. You probably want to use Ronin's leadership at that point, and sacrifice one of your supports, because Ronin gives you the 50% all attack and the 20% ignore dodge. But Thanos, it's nice. Okay, it's good. So now let's check out another team. We're gonna use Silver Surfer. Now, just to recap here, and again, I'm not trying to make Thanos look bad. I'm just giving you a comparison so you can see what I mean by Omega tier. My Silver Surfer is rank 53, so he is more well built than my Thanos. Yes, I do have more Odin's blessings. Yes, but he's a tier 2 character. He does not have a tier 3 skill. He also does not have a uniform, and he also has a CTP of regen. So he's got a PvP build. All right, stage 12 power of Angry Hulk, max type enhancement. So everything else is the same besides the Odin's blessings, and then no tier 3 stat boost, no uniform. And then instead of a CTP of rage, it's a CTP of regen. So we're going to take that Silver Surfer with Dr. Voodoo's lead. Now this is what makes Silver Surfer so good for PvP and PvE. He has all of the weapons for PvP, ignore iframe. He's got fracture, he's got iframes of his own, he's got healing, he's got revive, he's got crazy damage, he's got reflect, he's got guard hit. He's got all this stuff here. And then he also has a -65% for 10 seconds. So not only is it more than double Thanos' all defense down, his is -30, this is -65, but it's for 10 seconds. So you can definitely capitalize on that. So now let's take this exact team here with Coulson for the guaranteed crit and the extra damage against villains. So this is only 1 support instead of Thanos' 2 supports. Same stage 50 Cull Obsidian. And we're just going to obviously sub out Negasonic for Thanos himself, and then bring along Rachel for the mind control and damage increase. Rachel does have all defense down on her striking skill, but it does not ignore immunity, so it does not apply to world bosses. So here we go. Let's see how much damage. I'll try to be as least snarky as possible. Let's see how much damage Silver Surfer does. So we get the reflect. Okay, our 4th skill got interrupted there. That's fine. Okay, yeah. All defense down. 4th skill, yeah. We're gonna let him hit us to trigger the 3rd skill. The 3rd skill also has a damage proc. Okay. I'm gonna surf away. Oh, we didn't get hit, and then we got time frozen. Okay. There, we got hit. Here it comes. Okay. Not sure if we quite got that last counterattack. So our 4th skill got interrupted. Oh, we need to hang on. So our 4th skill got interrupted in the first hit. We might actually die here. We might take damage and die to this blast here. I don't know if we're out of the blast zone. So in the same amount of time as Thanos did on his best run with Negasonic as a striker, we are almost there. We're about 1 bar off. So now you tell me, Thanos with a pure or almost purely PvE build with a uniform and a tier 3 is only able to do one more bar than Silver Surfer with a PvP build. This is why I don't think Thanos deserves the Omega tier, because even if you dump all of your resources into him for PvE, and even if you give him the benefit of the doubt and you build him up, he is still going to underperform compared to other characters with less of a build for PvE. Imagine how much faster I would have gone in that fight. I probably would have killed Cull Obsidian if I had a CTP of Energy or a CTP of Rage. It's not even close. So, is Thanos a bad character? Absolutely not. Thanos is one of the best characters in Marvel Future Fight. He is one of the best, if not the best, single PvP character, especially on autoplay. He's super tanky, super hard to kill, and he has like 10 different ways to kill you, crazy iframes. He has the only tier 3 skill in the game that can kill multiple enemies guaranteed. Every time you cast it, it's going to kill the person that you're attacking unless they manually move out of the way, and then it will kill the next person that spawns in, because the void sort of black hole that he summons, or wormhole, or whatever it is, continues to deal damage and sort of fluctuate in the area. He's extremely strong. He's got all buff removal on his first skill because of the Eternal Deviant. Oh, not the Eternal Deviant, the Mad Titan passive. Or did it? Oh, they took that away. Oh no, he has all buffs. It's right there. Yeah. So yeah, Thanos has 10, 15, 20 different ways to kill you. He's an amazing character for PvP, and he's a pretty good character for PvE. But he definitely does not stack up to the top PvE characters. And he doesn't even compete. He doesn't even keep up. He competes, but he doesn't keep up with the top 2-way characters, i.e. Omega tier characters that can do PvP at almost as high of a level as him, but can also go much, much higher in PvE with the same build or with a different build. So that is the Thanos comparison. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, that Silver Surfer has a great advantage because of the all defense down, but that's just the way the character was designed. In my opinion, I think the devs were heavily leaning towards designing Thanos as a PvP character, and I think that's just the way it is. So we should embrace that rather than trying to have him fit a role that he's obviously not made for. 4 seconds of -30 all defense down is not really going to be much damage increase for anyone, as you guys saw with Negasonic. But yeah, that's just my opinion. You're obviously welcome to think whatever you like, or whatever you want. And you're more than welcome to use Thanos for PvE, because this game has way too many characters. So don't feel burdened or don't feel obligated to play a character a certain way because of what I think or because of what anybody else thinks. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.